One of the defining features of art is how it uses color. From signaling depth and perspective to creating mood and symbolism, it seems almost impossible to imagine art without color. Now, imagine a world without color. Imagine making art anyway. For more than 300 million people around the world, the rainbow is missing some of its colors. Not only are these people our neighbors, our friends, and our family, they're also some of our most beloved and celebrated artists. Come with us and look a little deeper beyond the rainbow. There are 7 types of colorblindness that fall into 3 main categories. Red-green colorblindness is the most common type. Individuals with this condition may be red blind, red weak, green blind, or green weak. As you can see, the world around them becomes a bit murkier than most of us may be used to. The second category of colorblindness is less common. Individuals with blue-yellow blindness are unable to tell the difference between blue or green and the difference between yellow or red. The rarest form of colorblindness is monochromancy or achromatopsia. 1 in 33,000 people see no color at all and see the world entirely in shades of light and darkness. How could paintings like Vincent van Gogh's Café Terrace at Night or Claude Monet's The Truth of Nature be created by a colorblind artist? The thing is, they were.
Hi, I'm Jaya Chawla. I'm an artist. I live in Mumbai as it is known today. And I love all things art. For a long time, I thought I didn't know my colors because in those days, you didn't really get tested for color blindness. It was not until I was 40 and I took my full body checkup, and part of that medical checkup was a color blindness test. So I came to know that I have something called a red-green color deficiency, to put it in simple terms, which is quite common. So it wasn't like I didn't know my colors. It was genuinely something I had inherited in my genes. I have never thought of it as a handicap, or art is such a passion for me that I've never ever thought of my color blindness as not being, able to go ahead with my passion. So here's what I do, if I can show you. This is a color palette. I don't use plastic and I don't use wood. I use paper palettes, and if you see, I've taken out certain colors and I write the name of the color that I've removed. So, because once it's out of the tube has the name on it and I'm fine, but once it's out of the tube, I can have serious issues looking at it and trying to recollect which color I've removed. So everything is labeled, and the other thing I will do, I will never put a sap green and a crimson together on my color palette, because that way I will never be able to make out what is what. So if this is sap green, I'll see to it I have other colors that I've removed, and after that I'll remove the crimson. I've written crimson here so that the greens and the reds are never together on the palette, and I'm not confusing myself because I don't really see the pigments. Children have always told me, "Mom, paint what you see." But my problem with paint what I see is that it's not like I don't know my colors. I'm impeded because of a genetic structure of my eye. But I know an apple is red. I know leaves are shades of green, So I find that difficult. I have at one point used a cadmium orange instead of a green and painted some leaves till I don't remember. Somebody saw it and said, "Oh, you've painted those those leaves orange." And I was like, "Oh, no. I need to redo this." So I can't have orange leaves. There are ways and means that I try to overcome it. I do have a very, very nice person who comes home. He was, he learned art at the JJ School of Art. Umesh Mohite. I call him my eyes. I mean, the first time when my mother-in-law said, here's a sari and can you go match a blouse for me? I fell apart. Oh, it was the toughest thing. I couldn't tell her I was colorblind. And I've gone to the shop and I've asked the shopkeeper to help me. I'm like, okay, here's the sari and can you help me match it? I need a blouse piece. I was terrified because I knew I couldn't do it on my own. Last year in lockdown, when nobody could come into the home, and I did not have Umesh coming home for almost 5 months, there was no way I couldn't paint. And that's when I took up the challenge that my kids had put forward to me, paint what you see. And I came up a set of 4 paintings based, 2 were on Varanasi, 1 was on Angkor Wat, and 1 was on the stepwells of Rajasthan, where I used more basic colors. I did not mix too many complicated shades, and those are all based on my travel and my photographs. I've gone to Cotton World once, and suddenly I find that clothes have been labeled with color tags, so turquoise blue or magenta, and all the tags suddenly had the color of the outfit written on it. And I was like, wow, this is fantastic. I mean, I know that sometimes when Isha is with me and I'm going shopping, and especially when we're abroad because we travel together, and I'll go up to her with a top or a piece of clothing and like, can you tell me what color this is? And then pick it up or not. In a museum, I've always felt that art lies in the eyes of the beholder. So it doesn't matter. I may see a Van Gogh and I may see colors the way maybe he didn't paint them, but my eyes see them and it's still a Van Gogh and it's still beautiful.
Some colorblind artists, however, have chosen to embrace their view of the world. Neil Harbison, as the world's first cyborg, he hears a unique sound whenever he looks at a color and uses this in his paintings. To demonstrate how sound affects the ability of an artist to paint, we conducted an experiment. One of these 3 artists is colorblind, but all of them have been instructed to paint after listening to a piece of music. We wanted to see how that affects the way they paint.
Embrace your difference. I think the most important part of humankind is all the differences that everybody has. And that if we could embrace that and if we could accept that, we'd go a long way in being happier people. You embrace your difference and you find that the world is open at your feet and that there's so much you can achieve. It's wonderful. You have an Instagram page, as does everyone these days. So yes, it is Jaya_Chawla. It has a very few, very limited paintings of mine. And inshallah, when the show happens, I will be putting up all the new paintings.